Namaste, Namaskar, and I can't forget my stay in West Bengal for 3 years, so Namaskar. Honorable Governor of Assam, most respected, Shri Gulab Chand Kataria ji, I don't think I need to say a word about him. We belong to the same state. For decades, I have sought guidance from him. A very senior politician statesman who believes in positivity, creativity, and I'm sure you will ever remember his inspirational nationalistic address today. Shri Himanta Biswa Sarma, Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, action, vision, execution are capsuled in this individual. He exemplifies commitment to duty, which is worth emulating. He is one who has in his heart Assam 24/7, a challenge to Mrs. Himanta Biswa Sarma. If you look at his discourses on national and international issues, they are dictated by our interest, our civilization, a deep sense of propriety, and of course, Bharat Mahan hai. I am happy that I share with him one credential. We both happen to be lawyers at one point of time. Honorable Member, Parliament Lok Sabha, a former mayor of Guwahati, Madam Queen Oja, Chairman Board of Governors IIT Guwahati, Dr. Rajiv Modi. पहले तो सरनेम में भी कुछ है और नाम में भी कुछ है, इसलिए सब कुछ मुमकिन होना यहाँ आसान है. Wherever I have gone in the globe as Vice President of the country, everyone has appreciated India's role as pharmacy of the world. यहाँ आकर पता लगा pharmacy of the world क्यों है. The man is a creator in industry and has academic bent of mind. I am sure the institute is extremely lucky to have a man like him, so qualified, and himself from IIT Bombay has had education of varied nature. I am sure this will take us to great heights when it concerns IIT Guwahati further trajectory. The director IIT Guwahati, let me tell you, I have great weakness for directors of institutes. I have been to IIT Madras, IIM Bangalore. I love to be amongst educational institutions. But these days, directors look like students. He and the director IIT Madras, you can't recognize, they can mingle with the students. Beware of him. You will have to be careful. You may be carried away that your friend is next to you. He may turn out to be the director. But when I look at his name, Parmeshwar, Param Ishwar, added with Krishna, बाकी क्या बचा है? The gentleman who has 10 patents to his name and more than 200 publications was so disarmingly simple, modest, when he was recording to all of us the real and great achievements and accomplishments of IIT Guwahati. My salutations to him. honorable MLAs, ministers, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, and then why I am here, my dear friends, boys and girls. I have heard the earlier speakers. I would therefore avoid what they have said, because I can't rise to that level of intellectualism to guide you. You have got good guidance from people who have, to their track record, accomplishments, the Honorable Governor, the Chairman Board of Governors, extremely energetic, erudite Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, and the Director. I would therefore briefly make some reflections. It is absolute delight for me. I will ever cherish this moment. I can tell you, in this hall, looking up and down, I am energized, inspired, and motivated. And I am sure that we are in Amrit Kaal. Some of us would not be here when India attains centenary of its independence in 2047. But I have in this room warriors of Bharat at 2047, and I'm extremely optimistic that from Amrit Kaal to 2047, Bharat will be at peak in the world. IIT Guwahati, the first IIT in this region, Northeast, and the only IIT so far, has continually been on incremental trajectory over 3 decades. It has earned laurels and recognition nationally and globally, particularly pointed out by the Honorable Governor, Shri Gulabchand Kataria ji. I have interacted on the dais with the Chairman Board of Governors, Shri Rajiv Modi, and the Director, and have their consent to announce that Indian Council of World Affairs, of which I happen to be the chairman, will have an MOU with IIT Guwahati. And that MOU will give you a window to the world of a different nature. This MOU will be fructified in next 1 month at Guwahati with the visit of Director, Indian Council of World Affairs. Coming as I do along with the Honorable Governor from Rajasthan, known for arid region, I am extremely delighted to be here in Assam, the land of majestic and mighty Brahmaputra. The Ashtalakshmis of the Northeast are blessed with this wholesome and sublime conference, culture and nature. I had the occasion to know more of this region when I was Governor State of West Bengal and was Chairman of Eastern Zone Cultural Center. Blessed by Ma Kamakhya and saintly spirituality of Srimanta Shankar Deva, Assam is known for its rich history of great Ahom rulers and their legendary Lachit Borphukan. And let me remind you, we take great pride when we look back in our historical perspective, the Battle of Sarai Ghat in 1671, and the Mughals were trounced. The vision of the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi in initiating a great thought, look east, act east, this is bearing rich dividends. IIT Guwahati is an epicenter because those who get out of this university, this institute as graduates, are impacting life nationally and globally. The Northeast recently, and because of the visionary initiatives of the Honorable Prime Minister, is now getting rightful space. in the national and historical narrative. My young friends, convocation is a momentous occasion. It is reward of your painstaking work. It is at this juncture you come to love your teachers who had been very harsh to you. It is at this juncture you learn the sacrifice of your parents. And that is something which has resulted in this day, which you will ever remember in your life. Congratulations to all the degree holders for well-earned and well-recognized recognition. I wouldn't say more, but wherever you will go in the world, the tag IIT Guwahati will make a difference, as in the world now, Indian passport is making impactful difference. You would have seen that. The recent visit of the Honorable Prime Minister to the United States, the impactful results it had, I am sure we never dreamt of it. Artificial intelligence has become America, India. Both are equally impactful. My young friends, the nation has great expectation from you, and rightly so, because you will take and mark and control upsurge of Bharat at 2047. India's phenomenal, unprecedented growth and rise is a defining moment, not only for the nation, it's a defining moment for the entire world. India at the moment is chairman of G20. You would have seen activity all over the country, including in your institute. And what the message are we giving to the world? That is the essence of our civilizational ethos. One earth, one family. Beyond doubt, technology will ensure Bharat being at peak in 2047. Contemporaneous global and national scenario indicates that this century will witness emergence of Bharat as a global economic leader. Series of affirmative steps have been taken, initiatives have been taken, and they have ensured exponential growth of this country in a manner which we friends could never earlier imagine. And I say so because I got into parliament for the first time more than 30 years ago in 1989. I know the scenario then, and I know the situation now. It was beyond imagination for us in 1989 thereafter to think our Bharat will be at this level, with this stature in the community of nations all over the globe. No one knows better than the minds before me, boys and girls, that India today is a global destination of investment and opportunity. IMF president, I had the occasion to meet her on 2 occasions. She calls it a bright star in economic world. The rise is reflected by certain indicators. In September 2022, India became 5th largest economy in the world. In the process, we surpassed our erstwhile colonial rulers. Just a decade ago, we were at number 10 or 11, a jump of 5. And I have no doubt, and those who know economics are sure about it, India will be the 3rd largest economy by turn of the decade. The rise of India, friends, is unstoppable. There has been transformational and impactful adoption of technology. We could never imagine in a country of more than 1.3 billion people how swiftly they have adopted technology. In 2022, 1.5 trillion US dollar transactions were digital. India accounted for more than 46% of that. And if I put it to you friends, young friends particularly, digital transactions in 2022, US, UK, France, Germany, take them together, multiply by 4. We are still ahead of them. Could you ever imagine? And mind you, digital transformation is not just technology alone. The human resource has to accept it. This has happened in the village with the farmer, with the workers. That's an achievement and accomplishment. The world is looking at us. Let me tell you something which I shared with world leaders at Phnom Penh, where I was there for ASEAN. India is the only country in the world that has made available to its citizens co-vaccine certification digitally. It could not happen even in the West. That is where we are at the moment. Friends, when it comes to internet use, we have more than 700 million. But per capita data consumption, ours is more than that of USA and China taken together. And that is something which we all should be proud. I urge you, friends, on this occasion, because you will be taking leap in the larger world. Henceforth, those who are getting degrees today will be alumni of this prestigious institution. I am sure they will bear in mind the sage advice imparted a while ago by the Honorable Governor, State of Assam. Remember what Vivekananda said at one point of time. I quote, and friends, always remember it, because one of the greatest problems young minds face is fear. And that fear is fear of failure. And they take failure as stigmatic. When an idea occurs to them, they allow the idea to be parked in their mind, but do not execute it. Mind is not a place where a brilliant idea needs to be parked merely because you think there can be failure. Give up that fear. And therefore, I recollect what Vivekananda said, I quote, take risks in your life. I don't have to say more, take risks. If you win, you can lead. If you lose, you can guide, unquote. Affirmative governance, the kind of policies that are there, that allows you, young friends, to unleash your potential, energy, and achieve your aspirations and dreams. Your institute, along with others, are creating incubation centers. They are innovation parks for budding entrepreneurs. I can tell you, friends, it is an idea which is in your mind, which you are capable of creating. Execution can take place even by mediocrity. I'm sure the Chairman Board of Governors knows it, himself being an industry leader with global reputation and contributing in the healthcare to that extensive level. So please take lead. I don't want to reflect on the accomplishments of IIT Guwahati. They have been reflected by previous speakers. But I would make one reflection. National education policy, and the country got it after more than 3 decades. And before the national education policy could be crystallized, lakhs of inputs were analyzed. This has turned out to be a game changer. This has turned out to be revolutionary. It has become a conveyance of transformative mechanism to change the world, including India, because our human resource is dotting every part of the globe. Skill has been given prominence. Certain things that were dragging us have been given up. Technology has been introduced. And now the day is not far when India took pride that we had institutions in the past like Takshila and Nalanda, our institutes like IIT Guwahati and others. It's a matter of time will rise to that level. My dear young friends, let me share something which I suffered. I was throughout a topper of my class. I was in great fear, always under fear. What will happen if I don't come at number one? I lived with that fear. I lived with that stress. I lived with that tension. It was too late in the day when I learned कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं होता, दोस्तों से कुछ ज़्यादा बात कर लेता, कुछ खेल लेता. So never have tension, never have stress, and never have that competitiveness to beat, excel yourself with yourself. And that I am sure will give you rich dividends. You are lucky to be in Amrit Kal. You are lucky to be at a time, particularly after 2014. And why I say 2014? Because before 2014, the country had coalition governance for 3 decades. I was a union minister in 89 to 91 in a government that was a combination of more than 20 parties. And as luck would have it, I was a junior minister in parliamentary affairs. Therefore, I am privy to all the tensions, problems, pulls, pressures. In 2014, after a long gap of 3 decades, the country had one party majority. That was re-emphasized in 2019. And that is why we could get rid of an Article 370 of the Constitution and thereby changing lives of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. They have access to it. This historic justice, why did it take 7 decades? Article 370 is labeled in the Constitution as a temporary article. I don't think a temporary thing should last that long. Friends, there is another thing on which I need to invite your attention. Our Constitution was given to us by very wise people, sagacious people. Dr. Ambedkar was chairman of the drafting committee. And they had in the Constitution a very important part. And that part was with respect to directive principles of state policy. And they were certain that these principles are fundamental in governance of the country. So directive principles have been taken by framers of our Constitution, our founding fathers, as fundamental in governance of the country, and then they reflected. It's the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. Friends, this has happened over the years. Panchayat was a fundamental, Panchayat was a directive principle. Constitution was amended. A structured mechanism for Panchayats evolved. Cooperatives was another. We had the occasion to see cooperatives being elevated to constitutional status. Right to education was another. We have made laws. In that premise, I am somewhat stunned at the reaction of people when there is a thought afloat that something should be done with respect to directive principles under Article 44. And that is, the state shall endeavor to secure for citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India, end quote. Now I can tell you, after 30 years, I'm sure that situation must have come. I have no doubt it has come. Any further delay in implementation of Uniform Civil Code will be corrosive of our values. The underlying sublimity of it has to be appreciated and understood. This will bind Bharat, its nationalism, more effectively. And that was the thought process of founding fathers of the Constitution. Friends, just reflect, think about it. There can be no premise or rationale to impede or delay in implementation of the directive principles when we are in Amrit Kal. Friends, I need to share some concerns with you because our rise is phenomenal. Our rise is unprecedented. Our rise is being recognized globally. India's impact in the world is being felt as never before. It is a time when the world expects India to say something. India doesn't have to exert itself to make its voice clear and known to the world. They await it. And therefore, I'm sure my young friends will particularly agree. It is our prime duty to take pride in being Indians and be ever proud of our historical achievements. Let me caution you, friends. Political stakeholding cannot be at the cost of nation and nationalism. There must be free run for politicians. There must be politics the way they wish to have, but with one common denominator. It has to be within the realm of respect for our nation and our nationalism. Friends, you will be walking into a larger world. You will be contributing in economic field. One thing which is not being seriously considered, and I will appeal to the chairman of Board of Governors also to get in touch with his industrial fraternity, and that is economic nationalism. I urge you all to ensure commitment to economic nationalism and let it not be compromised for fiscal gains. कैसा लगता है? पतंग विदेश से आएगा, दिवाली के दिए विदेश से आएंगे, फर्नीचर विदेश से आएगा, and our foreign exchange will be drained. I have named only few items. I do believe in global trade mechanism, but that should not come in the way of our economy being bled. And that is the duty of every man in industry and business to ensure that for fiscal gain, out of research, out of requirement, no issue. But we must ensure fiscal gain should not be there, a guiding factor. And I'm sure you will be well situated. You will be ambassadors of this thought. You will be able to create an ecosystem where our economic nationalism spirit will flourish and will be enhanced. Friends, no foreign entity, and I have no doubt about it, no foreign entity can be allowed to tweak with our sovereignty and reputation. After all, Bharat is 1/6 of humanity. We are home to 1/6 of humanity. Our human resource is impacting global institutions and dotting every part of the globe. We can't be on the back foot when it comes to our sovereignty and reputation. We cannot suffer tent on our flourishing and blossoming democracy and constitutional institutions. Tell me, friends, in which part of the globe you have democracy flourishing at the village level, at the panchayat level, at Jila Parishad level, at state level, at national level, and in the field of cooperatives, and all constitutionally secured, constitutionally ensured. There's no country in the world where transition of power is so smooth, seamless, and respectful. We are, and we must be ever cognizant of it. We are the oldest, the largest, most vibrant, and functional democracy. And that is giving stability to global peace and harmony. Friends, and my young friends, you have access to all information. You are fully alive. It's a matter of concern that with periodic frequency and in strategic mode, there is orchestration of anti-national narratives, and the object is to tarnish, taint our image. It is high time choreographers of anti-Bharat narrative orchestration are effectively rebuffed. And this can be done only by young minds, young trained minds who carry the tag of being alumni of a prestigious institute like yours. Friends, it is ironical, it is travesty of our nature that pains me, that some of us fall prey to this sinister design, to this evil design that has to be antidoted. Friends, another aspect which is changing our lives, which is changing our ecosystem, is transparency and accountability in governance. Now there is zero tolerance for corruption. I am sure everyone here will agree, none is above the law. The long arm of law is reaching everyone. Those who thought the law can never touch them are suffering the heat of law. And this is happening at this moment because there is policy of zero tolerance for corruption. Corruption is anti-democratic. Corruption is poor governance. Corruption runs down our growth. But another scene is appearing. If someone is held up for corruption, we have a robust judicial system, access the system. But people take to streets. People who have held positions of power, people who have held constitutional positions, take to streets rather than take recourse to lawful process. I would therefore urge you that at a time when stakeholders in corruption, beneficiaries of corruption, are marshalling all the forces to find cover and escape route, it is the narrative set afloat by young minds like you to neutralize it. A corruption society, corruption-free society is the safest guarantee to your growth trajectory. And I would therefore urge every man and every person present here, and particularly my young friends, boys and girls, you have the capacity to discern. You have the capacity to find out what is right or wrong. But please don't observe silence. Your silence can be too costly for the nation. Decades ago in the United States, a survey was conducted, and it was indicated, and the result was, if the silent majority decides to remain silent, it will be silenced forever. So I beseech young minds, be discerning, take your own call, but then don't keep that idea to yourself. Exert. That will help us evolve a system that will be for benefit of the nation. My dear young friends, you must have appetite. Of course, Assam cuisine is very fine. Continue to have good appetite for Assamese food. I also love it. But also appetite for the other point of view. These days we have become very intolerant. We don't want to consider the other point of view. That is not good for humanity. Experience has shown that more often than not, the other point of view is the right point of view. So for a drop of a hat, don't reject the other point of view. And who can feel more the pain of it than Chairman Rajya Sabha, a post which I hold? That's a temple of democracy, a place for deliberation, dialogue, discussion. And which means understand, appreciate what the other person has to say. You may agree, you may not agree. और ऐसी परिस्थिति के अंदर मेरी वेदना व्यक्त करते हुए मैं आपको कहूँगा, असहमति को विरोध में परिवर्तित करना जनतंत्र के लिए अभिशाप से कम नहीं है। भारतीय संस्कृति और सभ्यता की मूल भावना से मेल नहीं खाती ये बात। संवाद की डोर, कम्युनिकेशन, संवाद की डोर मानवता और प्रजातंत्र के जीवन की डोर है। इसमें खिंचाव और गांठ जन कल्याण के लिए हितकारी नहीं हो सकते। एक छत के नीचे विरोध और असहमति स्वाभाविक है। There are bound to be different points of view. They may not be even reconciled. इसका निदान विचार विमर्श है। यदि हमारी हजारों साल की संस्कृति का अमृत यही है कि बातचीत से हम मामलों का हल निकालेंगे। The world is facing a great war at the moment. And the statesman kind of stance taken by the Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, that war is no solution to a problem, has been appreciated globally. Friends, I would make a reference to two other quotes from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a genius who drafted our constitution as chairman of the drafting committee, and a visionary. And he said, I quote, and I'm sure everyone, particularly my young friends who are warriors of Bharata 2047, bear in mind, quote, you should be Indian first, Indian last, and nothing else but Indians. This thought we must always keep in mind. The moment we do it, I am sure our country's rise will be further accelerated. Our Constituent Assembly friends did a good job for 3 years, but I would make a reflection to what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said on the last day. The concluding observations, and concluding observations are always very relevant. And he said, it was on 25th November 1949, I quote, it is not that India was never an independent country. Historical truth. We were an independent country. We happen to be the oldest civilization in the world. This country can claim to have civilizational history of 5,000 years and more. So he said, I quote, it is not that India was never an independent country. The point is that she once lost independence she had. You know it, we lost it. We regained it in 1947. Further he said, will she lose it second time? He cautioned us on 25th November 1949. What perturbs me greatly is the fact that not only India has once before lost her independence, but she lost it by the infidelity and treachery of some of her own people. Will history repeat itself? Unquote. Friends, what he said on 25th November 1949, reflecting on infidelity and treachery of some of our own people, we are seeing it before our eyes. There are institutions globally where Indian industry makes investment, and the Chairman Board of Governors will take note of it. Millions of dollars are given to those outside institutions. But our students, our faculty members in those institutions abroad happen to be the only one criticizing their own country. I would urge the Chairman Board of Governors, highly respected figure in the industry, to see that our institutions like IIT Guwahati, they must get contributions from industry. They must be the main source for funding our institutions from CSR. I'm sure he will take it forward. Young friends, ये सीरियस बात कही, आप सीरियस हो गए, पर सीरियस बात को सोच लेंगे. आई एम फुल्ली कॉन्शियस ऑफ इट. बट मैं आपको एक बात कहना चाहूँगा. When you will walk out after getting your degrees, you will be envy of the world. There can be no failure by you. You will be contributing massively. Keep one thing in mind. Respect for your teachers, regard for your parents, and a resolve that you will give back to the society. I have been advocating an idea for a long time. Alumni is a strength of an institution. There must be federation of alumni associations. That will be a richest think tank for development of the nation. आप सबको बहुत शुभकामनाएं. आपका भविष्य मंगलमय हो, अच्छा हो, सोसाइटी में कंट्रीब्यूट करते रहें. Be happy, without tension, without stress, without fear of failure. जो भी आइडिया विचार मन में आ जाए उसको ट्रांसलेट करने की कोशिश करो. क्या पहली बार आदमी चांद पर गया सक्सेसफुल हुआ? नहीं हुआ. वो सक्सेसफुल कब हुआ? तो 20 जुलाई 1969 को नील आर्मस्ट्रांग ने वहाँ लैंड किया. उसके पहले भी एफर्ट हुए थे. अपनी कितनी प्रगति इसरो में हो रही है जिसका अंदाज़ा आपको ज़्यादा है. ऐसी परिस्थिति में मैं ये कहूँगा, थिंक आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स, टेक अ लीप, बी इनोवेटिव. और जो हमने ख्याति प्राप्त की है दुनिया में स्टार्टअप्स के अंदर, यूनिकॉर्न्स के अंदर, दैट इज़ एनवी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. मुझे आने का यहाँ अवसर मिला, ये मैं मेरा परम भाग्य मानता हूँ. ये दिन मुझे सदैव याद रहेगा. मैं इंडिविजुअली आप लोगों को मत जानो चाहिए. टुडे आई कैरी इन माई हार्ट a connect with you that I will take to my maker only. Thank you so much.